What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is a video I've been wanting to put out for a long time. I'm pretty much going to be giving you an introduction of collecting, investing, flipping, pretty much anything to do with, sports cards. Whether you want to make quick money on it, whether you want to hold long-term in it, or if you just want to start collecting sports cards. To be honest with you, when I was younger, I used to collect sports cards, and it was a very fun hobby of mine. My neighbor, he used to give me a lot for free, and after that, I used to ask my mom whenever we would go to the gas station, if we can get some, or they were like $1 or $2, but it was a bunch of 90s players, and players I didn't know of other than the notables like Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, stuff like that. I ended up not taking great care of those cards when I was younger, so I really don't have any of them anymore. Unfortunately, I wish I did. I think I had some pretty good ones too if I would have just held on to them. So in March of 2020, I was meeting up with a friend, and he was telling me about sports cards. And, I heard a little bit about it, how it was coming back, or, how it was still, very in demand. I kind of just looked the other way because I didn't, I didn't have money. I didn't believe into it. I didn't have money at the time. Or at least I didn't have money to put, I guess I didn't have the money to put in the effort. Because with everything, anything you want, you gotta have money. But, I just didn't want to put my money into sports cards. But I'm going to be very honest. I remember I heard Gary Vee in, I think it was January or December. He was talking about sports cards. And, I listened to it for a while. It was very interesting. Looking back at the videos now, wow, I wish I would have taken most of his advice. Because he really manipulated the market. A lot of people know that. But in about March of 2020, I actually ended up getting into sports cards again. During COVID, I was looking at prices, and I was looking at it, how quickly the market just fluctuates, and how these players, over time, they can get a lot of value. So what I want to go over is, the right players, I guess you could say, like players you need to be looking for, what you enjoy to collect, and what not to do, and the difference between raw and graded cards. So we're going to start on subject number 1 is pretty much what not to do. So whenever I first started in sports cards, because my friend, he ended up telling me about sports cards, he was like, hey, maybe you should look into sports cards. Some pretty good money into it. So I looked into it, and I remember I typed in a bunch of my favorite players, or players that I'm very excited about, that I believe had potential upside. And I was just buying graded cards. So there's a difference between graded cards and ungraded. So I'm gonna show you just one quick difference. This is a graded card. This is a PSA 9. This is a, pretty much, they grade your card on a scale of 1 to 10. This card was out of this case at 1 point, of course. And it was submitted into this company, PSA. And they graded on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being gem mint, 9 being mint, and so on and so on. You get the point. So I was picking up a bunch of players that I liked. For example, Kelly Oubre. I like how he plays. He plays pretty hard, and he's kind of low key. I was picking up PSA 10s of Kelly Oubre for like $30 when I first started, but little did I know they weren't his rookie cards. I just saw they were PSA 10s. It was like, I think, 2nd or 3rd year cards. They were cheap, so I was like, wow, they're already graded. Let's go ahead and bang on it. So I ended up buying those cards, and I got stuck with them for a while because I was looking at them and I was like, wow, this isn't going anywhere for the moment because this isn't his rookie card. So with a lot of players, especially in today's game, you want to invest into rookie cards unless they're established already. So established players, for example, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Derek Jeter. These are players whose value is never going to go down over time. They've already established themselves as legends, and these guys are just going to stay in demand because of who they were and what they contributed to the game. But as far as for today's players, an example, these are like true rookie cards. So for example, there's different types of sets as well. It looks like today, in today's world, the most popular, of course, is Panini Prism. Prism is the, I guess you can say, Apple of sports cards. It always has the most resale value. So this is a true rookie card of Bam Adebayo. It's a Panini Prism. And this is a raw card. So raw cards means, you know, it's just straight out of the packaging, like if you pulled it out of a pack. So this is a raw card, and you can always flip raw cards. You can buy them for cheap, and you know, when a player has a monster game or if they're on a big tear, you know, you could flip them at their peak's notice. You know, like for example, I would say, you know, maybe this didn't happen, maybe it did, but I'll just use an example. Jeremy Lin. Let's say you had his rookie card at the time, you know, and he was in that Linsanity run, and you had a bunch of his raw cards. They're not graded. You know, you could have probably made a pretty good amount of money during that time if it was like the market is today, because of that tear that he's on. A big example is right now, I think he's a great star, but I'm not sold on him personally yet. Kobe White. Kobe White was balling before COVID happened. He was averaging, I think, 30 points within like a 10-game frame or something like that. I know that he was getting buckets. So his cards, they're peaking right now because, you know, he was doing this before COVID. We didn't see this on a regular basis though, so that's kind of where it's like maybe people are buying a little too high, which is my opinion. So I don't know yet on him. I mean, I've seen his tape. He's really nice. I saw him at North Carolina. He's really good. I just don't know if he's that guy yet. So I mean, but if he is, then wow, you know, more power to the people who have bought a lot of his cards. Because personally, me, I only invest in players that I believe in. Now there's players that, you know, I don't believe, like, well, let me say it like this. There's players that I think that they can do well, so they can be quick flips. But before you do any of this, you know, before you end up looking into these cards, just make sure you do a lot of research. Make sure you enjoy watching the player. You know, put your money where you want it to go. You know, take safe investments, take safe flips. You know, like I'll say, for an example, I was looking at, there's one of my favorite YouTubers is PSA Collector. He was talking about, you know, 5 hot rookies to invest in right now. And, you know, Marvin Bagley Jr. was one of them. I personally disagree. He's very injury prone. I haven't seen too much on him in the Kings. I haven't seen much of Marvin Bagley since his Duke days. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of upside there. Of course, you know, his cards are very cheap right now, but you know, it's like, if the man is always injured, you know, his cards will probably stay that way. But like I said, there's that risk. I mean, there's that reward with the risk. You know, you buy it for cheap, and you know, if he starts acting and playing like the number 2 pick he was, then, you know, great. You know, you've made money. You know, you could flip the card raw, or you could get them graded. So for example, to get a card like this graded, you would submit obviously to this company, and it does take, you know, some time and money. Typically, you know, I've seen it from anywhere from $5 to $20 a card, depending on the card value that you do have. You know, it can be a lot more, but you know, there's pretty much, for example, like this, I'll just show you this raw card. There's a big difference in raw pricing and graded pricing. So this Panini Prism Bam Adebayo raw, I think I was looking at the sold listings today. They were anywhere from about 18 to 30, which isn't too bad for a raw card. I actually bought a bunch of Bam during COVID because I've seen Bam all year. I'm a Miami Heat fan. I believe in him. You know, I believe in his long-term potential. A lot of people have not been talking about him, but I bought him for like super cheap. I bought a bunch of his prisms, maybe at like $7 each, even cheaper. But they're going at $18 to $30. That's what I was looking at this morning. Now that's raw. If, for example, it came back a PSA 10, this is just an example. This is a Jason Tatum Panini Prism 10. If it was a Bam Adebayo Panini Prism 10, the comparisons are all over the place right now. I did see a couple sold listings anywhere from 170 to about 240. You know, eBay is your best bet to always look at for sold comparisons. You know, what's your market price, and so on and so forth. So there's a big difference between, you know, graded and raw. Now you can always buy cards online raw, and, you know, with hopes to turn them in to get graded. You know, some people really just flip raw cards. So, you know, they have a 10 on them and they don't even know, you know, they just don't want to go through the hassle of getting them graded. So, you know, I do prefer buying by the lot. By the lot means, you know, they would sell, let's say 3 of these, as an example. They would sell 3 of these, and they'd give you like a price on all 3 of them. It's better to always get it by the lot because, you know, you can get great deals that way. And always send offers too. You know, there's nothing wrong with sending offers. You know, some people really just want to get rid of their cards because of the clutter. But that's just the difference between raw and, you know, graded cards. Now, I seen a PSA 9. Let's say it's not a 10. A PSA 9, I think, sold for about, I've seen comparisons all over the place, but a base went, this is a base prism. A base went, I think it was like 25 to about 50 last time I was looking at. You know, they're all over the place right now, but, you know, there's a big difference, like I said, in raw cards and graded cards. So, you know, you just want to keep that into consideration. Second thing I'm going to talk about is, as far, like I was going back to, the sets. So Prism is king in any sport. Well, not sport. I would say, basketball and football, which is what I mostly invest in and mostly collect. I do some baseball. I do some soccer. But Prism is always, you know, the go-to as far as football, basketball, soccer as well. Soccer Prism cards are crazy right now. The second tier that I will say is Optic with basketball. I'm going to be talking mostly about basketball here because I mostly collect basketball and invest in basketball. Optic. The way that this works, so for example, this is an Optic. These are parallels because they're different colors. So cards come in different variations. Just as an example, let me show you. So this is Bam Adebayo's base Optic card. So this is just his regular card, like his base Prism that I was showing to you guys. His base Prism right here, this is base Optic. And these are parallels. So parallels always go for more. Silver Prism is really the go-to. Those are the ones that are, you know, the big money makers. For an example, Luka Doncic, his base Prism is, let's say if it was a graded PSA 10, a graded PSA 10 of Luka Doncic is at about $650 to $750 right now. A silver Prism PSA 10 is anywhere from $2,200 to $3,000. So silver Prism is king as far as, you know, and then there's short print cards. There's numbered cards and short printed cards, and I don't have numbered cards. I just have a couple of baseball numbered cards, but these are numbered cards. You know, 49 out of 299 or 146 of 150. You know, those are rare to find because there's only, you know, that many made. And then these are obviously, you know, just your regular packs. So opening packs is like gambling. You know, you could sell the pack sometimes because, you know, some people want to take their chances. I always take my chances typically if I can find it for the retail price. A lot of people will pay resale price nowadays because it's just like sneakers. You know, some people, they'll get the sneakers straight ahead and and they'll flip them for the resale price, not the retail price. So it's the same thing with sports cards. They're so limited that, you know, it's hard to get boxes. But this is like gambling. So, you know, you open this and you try to find the best haul. Other than that, if you don't find anything, you're just out of luck, because pretty much, you know, you just open it and you got a bunch of garbage. It's happened plenty of times. Even, you know, it's bound to happen. Every pack is not perfect. So, you know, like I said, it's really gambling. I do recommend you guys do a lot of research on your players. Look at the market. Anytime you want to look at the market, just go to eBay and go to the sold listings. You know, you'll scroll to the filter on the right side and you'll click the sold listings. It'll tell you your comparisons. And I just want to show you just some prime examples of, you know, sports card investing that I've done that is just paying off lately. For example, when COVID happened, I've been a big fan of Jason Tatum. When COVID happened, the Celtics, I believe, were the 2nd seed or the 3rd seed. I think they're the 2nd seed right now. I firmly believe, and you know, this is me investing, because it's like stocks. Sports cards are just like stocks. So you're hoping for the best. You're gambling on players, but you're gambling on players that you want to succeed. So for example, Jason Tatum is a all-star already this year. I love his game. The Celtics have a well-balanced team. I believe the Celtics are going to make the finals. This Jason Tatum card, I picked it up in April for $240 all in with tax and everything, a PSA 10 Prism. This Jason Tatum card has doubled already within the last 2 months. This card is right now $490 to $525. I've seen the highest. And mind you, the NBA has not been played in 2 months. So a bunch of people, you know, the way that I'm seeing it is, you know, a bunch of people are looking into the Jason Tatum. You know, Jason Tatum is a stud. You know, I believe he's already unguardable. However, I think he's a phenomenal scorer. But, you know, this card has doubled in pricing, and, you know, he hasn't even played in 2 months, and his card has already doubled. So like I said, it's just like stocks, guys. It's just making money. And this is just based on upside. So for example, if the Celtics make the finals, you know, I have a feeling this card, you know, he doesn't even have to win they don't even have to win the finals. I just think if the Celtics make the finals and Jason Tatum is doing solid, I believe this card is going to be anywhere from 700 to possibly 1,000. That's just my estimated guess. You know, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an expert on this yet. You know, I'm doing my research as I'm going along with it. But that's my estimated guess. You know, if they make the finals, I believe this card right here, the Prism, his rookie Prism is going to be, I think, you know, anywhere from 700, at least 650 to, you know, $1,000. This is another big investment that I did in April as well. When COVID happened, I bought his PSA 10 Optic Shock. This is a Shock parallel. And I ended up buying this all in for about $115 at the time. And wow, I wish I would have bought more. You know, this is going anywhere now from, I think, $270 to $320 last I was looking at. You know, the market fluctuates. Sometimes you can find great deals on it, and sometimes you can't. So, you know, always make offers on eBay as well. Try to find the best deal possible. And that's pretty much it as far as the grading part. There's 3 companies with grading. There's BGS, which I think BGS gives it a more collector's look, not more for flipping. However, though, they give you subgrades. So, like, they'll tell you Gem Mint 9.5, but they'll give you, you know, your subgrades, why it came out at 9.5. These are 2 Colin Kaepernick rookie cards. And so, for example, you know, you're centering 9.5, 9.5, 9.5. Now, anytime, another thing, you know, let's say you pull something big out of a box, you're not guaranteed a PSA or a BGS 10. You know, your card has to, you know, there's always printing issues. There's always, you know, slight scratches, smudges, anything like that. So, you know, getting a PSA 10 is pretty hard. For the first time in the 3 months I've been collecting and investing, I just submitted my first submission to PSA. I submitted 26 cards. I'll be putting up a video on that as well. But I submitted 26 cards, and I'm pretty nervous and anxious and excited at the same time to receive my submission back, because I want to see what they're looking for. The way I looked at it, you know, with PSA, you can actually put a minimum grade. So on all of the cards I submitted, I put, you know, I wanted at least a minimum grade of a 9. If it doesn't come back a 9, if they don't come back 9s, they would just send me the card back raw. So I'm anxious, I'm nervous. You know, I'm excited though, because, you know, the return on investment on the cards that I sent in is crazy. If they come back, you know, even 9s. I would love 10s, but, you know, even 9s would be nice. And it kind of gives me an idea of what to look for, you know, when they're, you know, whenever I'm submitting for the next time grading. But like I said, there's 3 major grading companies. Going back to that, there's BGS, which is Beckett. And, you know, like I said, they got that more collector's look. And they have the subgrades. And then there's PSA. PSA is the one that gives you the most ROI, the most return on investment. I will say, you know, if let's say you submit this raw and it came back a 10, I mean, a PSA 10 is going to sell more than a BGS 9.5. And then there's a company, there's a third tier company. It's called SGC. I don't have any SGC slabs yet, because I personally actually like how they look. I like SGC slabs. I just like how they look. It's like literally like this whole thing just blacked out, and it says 9 or 10, 9.5. And then, you know, it just says the card there. I actually just submitted, I think it was 7 cards to SGC. Just some lower tier cards, kind of just to see what they're looking for as well. I actually heard they're a little stricter on grading. But the way that the market goes, you know, based on what I'm looking at, it's always been, there's a BGS black label. It's called a Pristine 10. So it'll be black label. So every subgrade will be a 10. And then there's a Pristine BGS 10. A Pristine BGS 10 actually always outsells a PSA 10. So as far as your grading scale, you're always looking at BGS black label 10. Then you go BGS Pristine 10. Then you want to go PSA 10. That'll be the third most valuable. And then you would go with BGS 9.5. BGS 9.5 is very similar as far as pricing with SGC 10. Now there's 2 types of SGC 10s. I will say SGC 10 with the gold label. So like they'll have the SGC 10, but then there'll be like a gold printing around this part, around the name of the card. It'll be like gold printed, which means 10 pristine through SGC. SGC 10 pristine, I believe, is a lot more valuable than BGS 9.5. So I would say PSA 10, SGC 10, pristine, then BGS 9.5, then SGC 10, then PSA 9, and then probably, you know, BGS 9, SGC 9, well, SGC 9.5, and so on and so on. You know, you can, like I said, you can look at the market and you can pretty much tell for yourself. You know, make sure you guys do a bunch of research on this, guys. You know, like I said, I went all in crazy whenever COVID started at first, because I didn't know what I was doing, but, you know, I believed in some players, and, you know, there were some cards that I just had to get rid of. Like I said, you're always going to be looking for rookie cards. So, for example, you know, this is Jason Tatum's rookie, Colin Kaepernick rookies. This is a Donovan Mitchell rookie, Michael Porter Jr. And going back to sets, guys, you know, there's, like I was saying, you know, there's Prism. No, that's Optic. There's Prism, and then there's Optic. These are the base. I will say, you know, always look into Prism, Optic, a third tier for basketball, especially because, like I said, I mostly collect basketball, so this is more leaning towards basketball. But there's a third tier, which would be, you know, like Select. After that, you know, you can look at NBA Hoops. NBA Hoops is nice too. You know, it's very undervalued. Don Russ. This is Prestige. Prestige is very undervalued as well. You know, if you got superstars, you know, look into those lower tier cards. You know, for example, Luka Doncic PSA 10 NBA Hoops are still $300. So, you know, Hoops is very undervalued, but if the player is a you know, coming up all-time legend or something, or they're just balling out, you know, look into it, because, you know, those are great investments. Also, I'm going to go over with you guys. So these are, you know, like I said, true cards, because it says, you know, Bam Adebayo, Miami Heat. And I want to tell you the difference between inserts and cards. So these are inserts. Anything that says, you know, anything other than their, you know, just their team and their first and last name. So NBA debut cards, for example. So it's not like their true rookie card. It's like it's a true rookie insert, but it's not their true rookie card. Because, for example, it would have just said Tyler Hero, Miami Heat, not NBA debut. I'll use a football card, for example. Mitchell Trubisky. This is his insert. It's the rookie's insert with Don Russ. And it's not like a, you know, a true Mitchell Trubisky card. I will say, if you're looking into getting into football investing, you know, invest in quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are the safest bet. Personally, me, that's all I do. The football cards I buy are only quarterbacks if I'm buying online on eBay. If I open packs, I actually keep quarterbacks only. I try to sell the rest, because personally, the quarterback is the only thing that keeps its value as far as, you know, just in demand. Like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, you know, up-and-coming quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes is going off the wall right now in card prices. So it would have been nice to get on the Patrick Mahomes train about, you know, a year and a half ago. It would have been nice to know about sports cards at that time. But like I said, if you're predominantly leaning towards football, you know, quarterback is always something that's going to stay in demand because of, you know, the position that they play, how important it is to team success. Other than that, you know, it's hard because I've seen, you know, even the most revolutionary, Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, you know, Christian McCaffrey, who's coming up. You know, these guys, they're great players in the league, but they're PSA 10s or PSA 9s. They're still just, you know, they're very affordable because, you know, it's just another position. It's not the quarterback position. With basketball, it's a safer bet because it's just a bunch of positions. And, you know, you're pretty much gambling on hopefully them becoming good, or if not, you know, like I said, go for established players. If you want the safe bets, go for established players. You know, Steph Curry, LeBron, Kobe, Michael Jordan. Those cards are never going to go out of demand because of who they are and what they've contributed to this league. You know, Kevin Durant. But, you know, them cards right now that you can get for dirt cheap, I will say the market is going to heat up next month for basketball because basketball is hopefully coming back. You know, I'm very excited because I got a feeling these cards are about to go crazy. You know, a bunch of people, like I said, it's based on team performance, I believe, player performance, and just, it's a lot of different factors. So just do a lot of research, guys. I highly recommend it. This is a fun hobby to get into, especially if you love sports. This is like gambling this is just gambling, but you're gambling on your favorite players. You know, it's fun, man. You know, if you are a Boston Celtics fan right now and you're watching this video and you know, you obviously know Jason Tatum is nice and you believe in your team and you believe they're actually going to make the finals, put money in Jason Tatum right now. Put money in Jaylen Brown right now. You know, these are players that, you know, they're still young and their cards are just going to keep going up and up and up. You know, and right now is the perfect time. If your team is not making the playoffs, it is the perfect time for you to get players that are not making the playoffs. For example, Trae Young, Colin Sexton, John Collins, Devin Booker, you know, DeAndre Ayton. It is right now the perfect time to get those cards because nobody's talking about them. Nobody will be talking about them throughout the playoffs or throughout the bubble. Even though, you know, the Suns are in the bubble, but, you know, let's be realistic. The Suns probably aren't going to make the playoffs. But right now, I believe is the perfect time to get into those young studs that are putting up great numbers and that could potentially be all-stars. you know, like I said, there's a lot of factors into it. Performance, team, market, team performance, team success, all that good stuff. Like I'll show you as an example with Colin Kaepernick. I wish I would have got on the train a little earlier. Everybody knows, you know, who he is, you know, what he's done. You know, his cards during, you know, when the protests were happening, it was about 2 days into the protest. His rookie cards were about $40, a PSA 10. They were $40 to $60. I remember I was looking at them. This guy had like 10 available. And then, you know, there was a bunch of headlines about Colin Kaepernick, you know, NFL Network, ESPN, they were buzzing about him, you know, pretty much saying, hey, you know, this is what he's been talking about for all these years. And his cards have got a tremendous spike. You know, that same PSA 10 that I was looking at $40 to $60 in early June, a week later was at $180 to $250. You know, imagine if you would have just lucked up big and bought a PSA 10 for, you know, you would have bought 8 of those. You know, you spent, what would that be? Maybe $300 or so. And then you sell them for, you know, $1,000. You know, you just made almost more than $500 in possibly a week if you wanted to do the quick flip way. Now I think Colin Kaepernick, the reason that I have his cards as well is just that, you know, with him, what he's done, as far as, you know, so, you know, just being, political in the sports world, he is somebody who is going to be a part of history no matter what, you know, whether he gets signed or not. You know, he will have an important part of the NFL. This is somebody who's going to always be talked about, and not even in just NFL terms. So that's why I picked up his cards. I got these 2 cards here. They're 2 rookies. And then I just got this Topps Chrome. I think this isn't a refractor, but this is just a fantasy focus. I like the way that they look. Topps Chrome is a really nice set to me. So I ended up getting this card because I just liked how it looked. And it was pretty cheap. So, but guys, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I will be putting up a bunch of videos here of the cards I'm investing in, the players I'm investing in, mail days, just to kind of show you where I'm at. And, you know, I'm going to be giving you guys, you know, like my top 5 and all that good stuff. So a lot of great content coming up lately, guys. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know, like I said, if you guys have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure you hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. And we'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoy and stay safe.